street leading to a duffel bag. Inside that bag, the remains of a 51-year-old woman. The victim, Orsolya Gaal, a mother of two and wife. The medical examiner says her cause of death, homicide. Now, multiple law enforcement sources telling NBC New York they've identified a person of interest. Gaal killed by sharp force injuries of neck. Her body found Saturday. What's your reaction hearing that as someone who often walks these streets?
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. I mean, this is a really safe neighborhood.
The NYPD confirming to WNBC that this home security video from the neighborhood shows the possible killer rolling Gaal's body in a duffel bag. Police say Saturday morning a 911 call reported a suspicious bag with blood on it. That blood was Orsolya Gaal's, also found on the streets in this area just half a mile from her Juneau Street home. Her neighbors shocked by her gruesome murder. Her body later found, quote, unconscious and unresponsive. Police say Gaal was murdered right inside her house, now surrounded by flowers and caution tape.
It's creepy. I mean, I walk that way to visit my friend, so it's a little disturbing.
How long have you lived here?
Well, 22 years.
How do you feel about that?
Very bad, very sad. I never heard something like that before.
According to police, Gaal stabbed at least 58 times in the neck, torso, and left arm, with no sign of sexual trauma. Now, law enforcement say the unnamed person of interest is a man who knew Gaal and had access to the home. Police say her husband and older son were out of town during the incident, but police tell WNBC her 13-year-old was right inside the home during his mother's brutal murder. Police sources told Pix 11 the killer sent a chilling text to Gaal's husband saying, quote, "Your whole family is next." Gaal's husband, Howard Klein, telling the New York Post, quote, "There are concerns about our safety. Our lives are at risk." We reached out to Klein but did not immediately hear back. Do you feel comfortable walking here now? Do you think you'll continue to, or has the atmosphere changed?
Maybe a little, but it seems like it didn't seem like it was a random act.
The crime scene still active as investigators spend hours determining what exactly happened to Gaal, who did it, and why.
All right, and Gisela K joins us now live from that neighborhood in Forest Hills, Queens, here in New York. So Gisela, we just heard a resident there, a neighbor, say it didn't seem like this was a random act. And we know WNBC is reporting that there's now a person of interest who likely had access to the house. But again, so far, no arrests?
Yeah, Tom, so far there have been no arrests, but police do say they found a person of interest, and that person, as you said, did seem to have access to the house, though it's unclear whether or not they've spoken with that man. And I have been talking to neighbors all around the neighborhood today. I'm right in front of the house, and the tone has been on edge. People are anxious and tense, wondering exactly what happened. I've seen teenagers and parents walking by the house asking questions, and so right now the community's on edge, waiting to find out exactly what happened.
Now to the gruesome murder of a 51-year-old woman in Queens.
Her body was discovered in a duffel bag not far from her home. CBS News Leah Mishkin has been following this story and has the latest on the investigation.
This home on a quiet Forest Hills street has turned into a crime scene. The NYPD arrived Monday afternoon, searched a garage, and left with evidence. Neighbors are in shock.
Everybody's on edge because apparently a killer is running around.
On Saturday morning, police received a 911 call after a bag with blood on it was discovered on Metropolitan Avenue and Jackie Robinson Parkway. Police say Orsolya Gaal's body was inside.
We saw all the police by Jackie Robinson Parkway, and it's like, it's really sad. It's just like, my heart goes out to the family.
Police say there was a trail of blood from where the bag was found to the mother of two's home, a short distance away. Graphic new details from sources say Gaal was stabbed more than 50 times. We're told her husband and older son were out of state when this happened.
Say your prayers for the family now, because she's gone already.
Theodora Grafas wasn't just the family of four's neighbor, she was the 51-year-old's friend. She says they'd see each other in their backyards and would get their nails done together.
Her kindness to people, super friendly, and the way she took care of her kids and her husband. She was just a great person.
The last time she saw Gaal was Friday morning. Never did she think this would be their final exchange.
When I passed by and she waved to me and I waved to her, I was going to do some errands.
It is shocking. Even though I didn't socialize with them, it was very disturbing.
Sources tell us the person responsible may have been someone Gaal knew, although police say they do not have a person of interest in custody just yet. In Forest Hills, Queens, Leah Mishkin, CBS 2 News.
Police have not yet located Gaal's cell phone, and officers are canvassing again, looking for video that might lead to her killer.
We begin with a woman murdered, her body found stuffed inside a duffel bag, and now investigators are talking with her 13-year-old son. CBS 2's Kieran Dillon is live tonight in Forest Hills with the new developments. Kieran?
Jessica, it's been a horrific scene here in Queens where that woman's body was found inside of a duffel bag earlier today. And police tell us this home here behind me on Juno Street is one of 2 scenes involved in this investigation. Let me give you a live look behind me right now so you can see for yourself. Officers have been here at this home throughout the day guarding the scene. And police say a trail of blood from where the duffel bag was found a few blocks away led them to this home. Investigators combed the scene where a duffel bag with a woman's remains was found Saturday. Police say a man was walking his dog near Metropolitan Avenue and Forest Park Drive just after 8 in the morning when he came across the bag. Decomposition of the body inside had not yet begun. A few blocks away on Juno Street, police tape surrounded a home where neighbors say the victim lived.
I'm going to miss her. I'm in shock. And we cannot believe that this is happening.
Neighbors add the victim lived in the home with her 2 sons, aged 13 and 17, and her husband. They describe her as a stay-at-home mom who loved her children.
Just so tragic. I just feel sick to the bone about hearing this. She enjoyed life. She was out and about, socializing, seeing theaters, traveling.
Police say a trail of blood from the duffel bag led them to the home in question. Sources tell us the victim's 13-year-old son, as well as her husband, are now being questioned, though they add the husband is believed to have been out of town when the incident happened. They add blunt force trauma is the suspected cause of death. Nicola Blankson saw the victim just yesterday. She says she seemed in good spirits.
She was in the garden with the dog and the son, so I heard them talking. Just regular family stuff.
These distraught residents in this quiet community say they are now in mourning.
Lives will not be the same neither, because every time I would come out, I would hear her or the dog barking. She was a very happy woman, always smiling, always joking.
And loved life.
Yeah.
She loved life, really. Yeah.
So a lot of heartbreak in this community, this tight-knit community here in Queens, Jessica, tonight. We can tell you that so far no arrests have been made. A motive for this attack also remains unclear. We are live tonight in Forest Hills, Queens. Kieran Dillon, CBS 2 News.
Awful story. Kieran, thank you.
Hello, Grizzlies. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Let me know where you're watching from. I know the members are seeing this before everyone, so thank you so much for all your support for my channel. So I know I have a lot of homework with a case I'm already covering, but this case, it just like gripped my attention because I'm like, wait, what? And the more I looked at it, you know me, I deep dive, make presentations, do a bit of map time, and so do a lot of map time. I put together a little something for you, and I thought, let's cover it. Let's cover it, and then I'll get back to my homework. So here we go with this horrendous story. There are so many red flags that I'm like, what? And I put them all on this presentation for you. Welcome to the show. This is a very small group this morning at first because it's early in the morning, I believe, on the East Coast. I think the Pacific side of things is you fast asleep, so welcome. I've already had 2 cups of coffee, so I'm on water now. All right, I'm going to put my presentation up so that I can give you this entire timeline, okay? Minnesota, Maine in the house, Indiana, Wisconsin, very nice. So I'm going to put my presentation up. Let's put it, I suppose that's good. This is also, yes. Okay, I believe, Orsolya Gaal was originally from Hungary. So I've heard her name pronounced many ways, but the most commonly heard way is Orsolya Gaal. She was 51 years old, absolutely stunning, married mother of 2, murdered over the weekend. Horrible. And they don't know who murdered her. The investigation is ongoing. I will cover it if and when there's updates. But this story is another one of those dismemberment one. So trigger warning. I think that's actually my next slide. Trigger warning, everyone. It is a horrendous story. So disclaimer, all Grizzly true crime content is for adults only and may contain themes that some individuals find triggering, offensive, or disturbing. The intent is not to disrespect viewers or any individuals spoken about herein. Viewer discretion is advised. So we're quickly going to have a look at the story. What is it? Where did it happen? Who, what, where, when? What are the red flags? Things like that. And then we will look at the surveillance footage. There's a little clip that I have here. I can't quite find it. It's not like everywhere yet because this news just broke, right? But I've got a source here. And so we'll look at that. Then we'll do some map time, okay? Yes. Hello, Saleo. Okay, so let's get into it. As I say, I've already deep dived this. I've spent all morning doing this because, of course, for me, it's almost 2 p.m. when you guys are seeing this, depending if you remember or not. Okay, so Orsolya Gaal, 51, married, mother of 2, found murdered and dismembered. Where? In Queens, New York. She actually lived in an upmarket area in like a gated community. Beautiful homes. I drove around that entire area, drove around with a little Google man so that I could actually find the house, which I then did. When? This happened on Saturday, April 16th. So this past weekend, Passover weekend. This was a Jewish family. But we'll get into that. And how? Well, she was murdered in her basement, according to the police. She was dismembered. Her body was then put into a Bauer hockey bag with wheels on it and then wheeled in this bag for half a mile and dumped near a popular park. What's the motive? Who's the person of interest? Unknown at this time, which is April 19th, 2022. This is the home. I like it. It's like kind of Swiss styled. Am I right, Stefan? It's like very German and Swiss styled homes, beautiful homes. Apparently this was like a $2 million home that they had. Her husband, Howard Klein, we're going to look at all the family members and everything. He was working with investments, with lithium ion batteries. He's with RK Investments, I believe it is. I've looked at his whole career on LinkedIn, of course, just to see what, and who and where. And so we'll keep going with the story. But wealthy people, wealthy neighborhood, upmarket, right? It was very strange. There was also no sign of forced entry into this home. Now, here's the timeline for you. On Friday, April 15th, Gaal's husband, Howard Klein, I'm not too sure why they have different surnames. I mean, myself and my husband also have different surname. I didn't take his surname. I've still got, my surname. So long story. The point is, they have different surnames. They've been married for quite some time. I don't know exactly how long they've been married, but they had their first son, I believe, in 2005. So they've been together a long time. And they've been living in this neighborhood for about 10 years. Some say 8, some say 10, some say 9. It depends on the neighbors. They're all guessing between 8 and 10 years, right? So Gaal's husband, Howard Klein, and eldest son, 2 sons, one 17, one 13. Jamie 17, Leo 13, okay? So Howard and Jamie fly to Portland, Oregon on Friday, the 15th, to visit potential colleges that he would attend. Now, I put this in red because it's a bit strange. Apparently, the husband and the youngest son who was found in the house, we'll get into it, they've been cleared as persons of interest, but I still see a lot of red flags. Meaning, I don't know, maybe speculatively, it's like a hit. Someone was hired. You just don't know. But we'll get into it. So he tweeted about their arrival and then later deleted the tweet. Interesting. He said, just landed Portland, Oregon before evaluating Ann Arbor again with my 17-year-old son. It's like very specific. We true crimers are like, we look at the fine details. Am I right? Yeah, Tudor style is what they said. Agreed. True. Tudor style. It just looks so Swiss. So that night, Gaal tells her 13-year-old son, this is also something I find a little strange, right, Leo, that she's going to see a show with friends and then she leaves the home. Now, there's also multiple reports. One of her friends said, oh, yeah, no, she knows the people that she was out with. However, it's come out that she actually went to meet up with a man. Don't know who this man is. Don't know if he's a person of interest. The police say they are going through all the receipts and her movements through the night or that Friday evening, what she was doing, to try to figure out if she met a stranger along the way. So the way that they word that, I'm assuming they don't think it's this man that she met up with. So I just find it weird that they would leave this 13-year-old boy at home. I don't know. And it's Passover. It's a Jewish family. They seem to have usually celebrated it. So now the family's like all over the place. And the dad on that day, like that day, he's flying out, Portland, Oregon. Let's go look at some colleges. It's just, I don't know. It just feels a bit strange. But so the 13-year-old Leo is sitting at home alone. The mom goes out. And then what I find strange is that the husband tweets. He's not messaging. These are not like the husband tweeted the husband messaged the wife. The husband tweets at 1:36 a.m. that they were at the airport on their way home. Why? Why is he tweeting this? He's tweeting, we have arrived, and with all these details to the world. Who are you talking to? You know what I mean? Anyway, maybe he just does this. I've requested to follow him on Twitter because his account is private now. So I would like to see the pattern. I would like to see, does he normally tweet like this? Like, just landed Portland, Oregon before evaluating Ann Arbor again with my 17-year-old son. Okay, and then also tweeting at 1:36, we are at the airport on our way home. And that was around the time when she was murdered. Around this 1:30, it was just after midnight that she arrived home. So she allegedly met up with a man before returning home before midnight. Some say just before midnight, some say just after midnight. It depends on what are the neighbors seeing. One of the neighbors saw her playing with the dog outside in the yard when she got home. Police say the killer arrived shortly after she returned home. They believe that Gaal knew the killer. Lady M says, oh gosh, I'm already jumping into conclusions. I know, me too. Okay, Robert says, no, so crazy to leave your 13-year-old at home alone. Is crazy. Do you mean not so crazy or so crazy? I think it's a little odd, right? Not? So this was 1:36 would be Saturday morning. All the reports obviously say 1:36 on Friday, but it was actually on Friday in the day that Howard and Jamie flew to Portland, Oregon, and then at 1:36 a.m., which would be Saturday, 1:36 a.m., he tweets that they're at the airport on their way home. Now, just continue to follow this timeline, which is why I made this presentation. It'll make a lot more sense so that you can see how weird this all is. She was murdered in the basement, stabbed 58 times. Some reports say more than 60, some say 30, but apparently it's 58 times, as far as they know so far now. She was then dismembered, stuffed into a wheeled Bauer hockey bag. She had wounds on her neck, torso, left arm, and inside her fingers or hands, apparently on the left side as well, but it could be both hands, I'm not sure, but showing, of course, defense wounds, right? Now, on Saturday 16, now look at this timeline. The Saturday, remember at 1:36, the husband's tweeting that they're on their way home? At 4:30 a.m. on Saturday, surveillance footage shows someone dragging the bag and leaving a bloody trail. Now, if you think about it, let's say she must have speculatively been murdered between 1 and 4:30 in the morning, right? Because this person would have to murder her, dismember her, and put her in the bag, maybe clean up something, I would think, and then wheel the bag out, because at 4:30 they're seen on neighbors' footage already walking. So you see why I find the tweet weird at 1:36 a.m. Odd timing, that. Odd flight time. Also to just go for the day and come back. I'm just saying. The bag was also left a half a mile away from the home. So this was not a very calculated person based on, really? You're going to wheel the bag a half a mile down the street and just dump it? We're going to do Maptime. I'll show you exactly where. Like, what? So weird. You know, that's very odd. Like, did they want her to be found? Or is it someone quite immature or who's lost their mind, who's just like, I'll just dump this here? And then where did they go? Man, if I could see some surveillance footage of the morning, did anyone walk back from that scene or what? Yeah, that makes no sense. I know, right? So, okay, so continuing on, her husband was sent text messages from her phone saying, your whole family's next. And then, your wife sent me to jail some years ago. I'm back. To me, this sounds childish as heck, okay? And it's weird. It's just like, it sounds like a teenage fantasy, right? Your whole family's next. Why is this weird? Because her 13-year-old son was sitting upstairs in the home when police went into the house on Saturday morning. Why did the police go to the house? Because We're gonna get to it, but basically they followed the blood trail from the bag back to the home, entered the home, and there he was, Leo, sitting upstairs. Like, what? It's like, where's your mom? He's like, I don't know. That's weird. He's sitting upstairs. He didn't hear anything? And he's very mature. I've seen videos of him now. I can't show it because we don't want to dox him or anything like that. But he's very mature for his age, from what I can see. So I'm like, like this guy's just sitting there upstairs. What is he doing? It's friggin' weird. And we're going to get more into it. There was no ID on her. Police followed the trail back to the home where they had to force their way in. Yes, her 13-year-old son was upstairs alone. He was taken in for questioning. They handcuffed him immediately. But then he was released. He said he didn't know where his mother was. Oh, my word. Yes, there was a blood trail. So this is a still image, and I've zoomed in on the one side here of the surveillance footage. I will show it to you after this presentation. Or maybe, should I show it to you now? I don't know. I think I must just do this presentation. Then we'll look at the surveillance footage. It's like, to me, this doesn't look like a grown man or woman, but it could be. Could be a woman. Could be a teenager. Could be shortish man. I don't know. It's just, wow. There they go on the surveillance footage. And multiple homes actually captured this footage. They haven't released all of it, but we do have a snippet. And it's so bizarre. Coming out of the home. Remember, she was also murdered in the basement. So I wonder how easy it was to get out from the basement. What, like up the stairs with a bag with the body in? Isn't that heavy? I don't know. She wasn't a heavy lady, but still, isn't that heavy? It's very hectic. So, yes, the whole I'm going out on holiday weekend with the husband and son out of town, leaving the young one home seems strange to me. It's all so strange, but it gets stranger. Believe me. I'm just looking at this case and I'm like, wait, what? So this is how they put a sheet over the bag that was found. It was found a half a mile away from the home. How long would a half a mile take you guys to walk? I think they were quoting something like 17 minutes with a bag, but like 17 minutes? You're going to drag a bag? With blood dripping out of it? What? Okay. Now, I would say Glenn van Noorstrand, okay? But you guys probably say Glenn van Noorstrand, okay? Was walking his 2 Rhodesian Ridgebacks when he discovered the bag at approximately 8:05 a.m. on Saturday, April 16, on the corner of Metropolitan Avenue and Jackie Robinson Parkway. He called 911, reportedly at 8:11 a.m. Now, it was those Rhodesian Ridgebacks that sniffed something. They could smell, of course, human remains, and they were just like charging for that bag. And this person, Glenn, who found the bag, said that they opened it because they were like, what the heck? What's going on with the dogs? Opened the bag, saw a foot and then a hip still attached. Now, this is what's weird as well. They say this. To me, it looked like a mannequin. It didn't look very fleshy. It was more like a crash test dummy. I thought it was maybe some equipment being used for something. I didn't think anything of it. How is this possible? Like, how am I even saying these words? Like, how? I mean, is this like the ice truck killer style stuff? Like from Dexter? If you haven't seen Dexter, that's what I'm referencing. Like, what is going on here, right? 10 minutes adrenaline. That's what I'm thinking. 10, 30 minutes, half a mile, 60 minutes, 1 mile. 30 minutes, okay, about 20. So when they say 17, maybe they know it's 17. I've just seen that quoted. Oh, my word. Yes, the husband and the 17-year-old son were out of town at the airport at 1:36 a.m. on the Friday. They got home early Saturday morning. So I wonder what time. I want to know what time, actually. That would be interesting. Because when the police entered the home, that's what's weird. How are they sitting at the airport at 1:36 a.m.? That's a timeline to look at. At 1:36 a.m., they're at the airport, waiting to fly from Portland, Oregon to New York. Right? What time are they getting home? Because the police are like barging in the house and they find only the son upstairs alone. So where's the husband and the elder son? How, if someone can look up quickly while I'm doing this, how long is the flight? How long would a flight be from Portland, Oregon to Queens? Well, to New York. And maybe they'd fly to JFK, I don't know, to New York and then drive home to Queens, you know? Interesting. Anyway. So, it looked like a mannequin. Imagine opening a bag, you see a foot, then a hip still attached, and then they say, oh, well, it looked like a mannequin. It didn't look very fleshy. What? And then they say, he saw black ankle-length jeans. So, of course, it's a point of interest because she wasn't like in her pajamas or something. She wasn't in her bed. She wasn't asleep. She was wearing ankle-length jeans, a belt, and then a woman's waist. All right. He didn't see the blood on the other side of the bag until after he'd opened it. The body was in the fetal position. This is also very specific. Yeah, maybe he had a connecting flight. Maybe. We'll look at that. This is so strange. Now, Orsolya Gaal was married to Howard Klein, and they lived in an upmarket gated community in Queens with their 2 sons for almost a decade before she was murdered. There was no sign of a break-in at the house. And you know what I want to know is, where's her dog? They haven't mentioned where the dog is. The neighbors just said Saturday morning was really strange for them because the dog wasn't barking. Apparently they shared like a little yard, one of the neighbors, with this house. And they're like, where's the dog? So I'm still wondering, where's the dog? Okay, thank you, Amber. A flight from Portland, Oregon to Queens, around 5 hours, 15 minutes nonstop, connecting flights, so about 7 hours. Okay, so let's take it at 1:36, he's at the airport. Let's say the flight's around, 2 a.m. Okay, so that makes sense, that they got home, sure, but it's well-timed. Oh my word, the timing, it's incredible timing, all of this. So they would get home after the police were supposedly there, because 911 was called at 8:11. They saw the bag, they followed the trail home, they went into the house, which must have been at earliest, around 9 or something? Because to follow the trail back and everything and then be like, whoa, like it leads up to here, and then have to bust through the doors and stuff. I don't know how they got permission to do that, but maybe they're like, oh my word, here's like a bag with someone dismembered, follow the trail, bust into the house, and then the 13-year-old sitting upstairs alone? Oh my word. If it's just dumping her so close to this, then why dismember? I know, that as well. Yes, maybe hired someone. That's what I'm thinking as well. Sure, so red flag alert. Okay, note, I say at the beginning, note, like disclaimer, her husband and son have been cleared as suspects. As in the 13-year-old son. And the other one was not a suspect. But okay, the husband and the son have been cleared as suspects. The husband had to let the world know that he was arriving in Portland, Oregon, and exactly for what reason, and then he deleted the tweet. This red flag alert, right? He also then had to let the world know that he was at the airport at 1:36 a.m., which was around the time that his wife was murdered in their basement. Leo, the 13-year-old, was upstairs alone, said he didn't know where his mother was, and he didn't hear anything? I mean, he didn't hear the person dragging a bag up the basement stairs, probably, out the freaking front door. They have no alarm system or what? There's no dog barking either. What is going on in the story? And then I say, was he threatened to stay silent? Very likely. Where is the dog? Now, here we go. Watch this. Since October 2019, Orsolya is not seen wearing her wedding ring in Facebook photos, and there was a 911 call from this home on May 29th, 2020, from Howard to report Orsolya missing. Huh? That's weird. He said that she had gone for a walk on a Friday night, just after midnight. He woke up in the morning, realized, oh my word, she's not back home yet. But then, so he called the police, reported her missing, and then she was located 30 minutes later, is what I've now read right after I made this presentation. She was found 30 minutes later, and then there was another call in July 2021 to report Jamie, the eldest son, missing, and he was also found 30 minutes later. It's freaking weird. Whew, this is very hectic. Yeah, creating an alibi. Apparently, the hockey bag was just there. It was like, that's interesting though, we don't know. But the hockey bag was apparently just like one of her son's hockey bags. Youngest son at home probably had headphones on playing video games. Probably. That's probably true as well. Yes, Rochelle Pronzo, you're right. Probably doing that. Okay, so this missing persons report stuff is like so weird to me. We'll get more into it. I think there's another, I've got a picture here for you. My word. So look at this picture. This picture was taken by Orsolya. She posted it to Facebook on a nighttime walk in May of 2020. This was just, remember, May 29th was when she was reported missing and then found. This was a few weeks before her husband had called at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday to say his wife had gone for a walk at 00:30, 12:30 at night, and then had not returned home. She was reportedly located 30 minutes later. Where was she located is my question. If I were to speculate, okay, this feels like an affair, and it feels like revenge with the exact same timing. I don't know. That's what it feels like. When I just look at it, gut instinct, I'm like, whoa, this is, because where did she go? If she left the house walking at 12:30 and then wasn't home by 7:30 in the morning, she's gone for 7 hours. And then he calls the police, and then she's found within half an hour. That's weird. And if you think about it, so she goes for a walk, and now they say here, this night, she got home around 12:30. And then he's tweeting at 1:30. It's weird, right? Yeah, why a house mom walk at midnight? I know, right? Yeah, maybe the teen didn't hear anything because he probably was. You're right, he probably was playing video games and stuff. Now, here's another whole thing. There's another whole layer here. One of the tweets, that tweet that he initially deleted said, and it's interesting, he deleted this one. Just landed Portland, Oregon before evaluating Ann Arbor again with my 17-year-old son. So instead of saying with Jamie or anything, he's like, with my 17-year-old son. And then he wrote, highly recommend freezing order at Bill Browder, a man I followed closely and admired since I started on Wall Street in 1997, this is very detailed, broking EMEA and Russian equities to hedge funds like Hermitage. The book is subtitled A True Story of Money Laundering, Murder, and Surviving Vladimir Putin's Wrath. Now, this guy, Bill Browder, who wrote this book, if he lands in Russia, he's going to be sent to prison immediately. That's what the authorities have ordered. Okay, so he escaped. People around him have died because of Putin being so mad at him for something which we'll read in a moment, okay? So I find it really weird how that it is so specific. Like, just landed Portland, Oregon before evaluating Ann Arbor again with my 17-year-old son. Highly recommend. This was all one tweet. I know I put 2 quotes there, but apparently this was all one tweet, and this is the tweet he deleted. Highly recommend freezing order at Bill Browder, a man I follow closely and admired since I started on Wall Street in 1997, broking EMA and Russian equities to hedge funds like Hermitage. The book is subtitled A True Story of Money Laundering, Murder, and Surviving Vladimir Putin's Wrath. Pretty sure YouTube's not going to like the words I'm saying there, but hey, it's important to this case. So what I want to do now is show you this. If we look at this, it says, this is just an article I found, unrelated to the case, but just listen to it. U.S. hedge funder's new book reveals terrifying life on the run from Putin. So just remember, Orsolya's husband was heavily promoting this guy's book, He was promoting his book on Twitter. He's making kind of a pitch for it. Apparently he wanted to invest in this. So, okay. So here we go. They say, Bill Browder, a millionaire hedge fund manager based in London. Okay, let's just do it more like this. Based in London, realized something was wrong the moment a stunning blonde woman with full red lips and a skimpy black cocktail dress approached him. It was July 2012, and Browder was at a reception at the Hotel Le Méridien in Monaco as part of a human rights conference with representatives from over 57 countries. The woman, who introduced herself as Svetlana Melnikova, flirted unabashedly with Browder. I normally work in fashion, she said, touching his arm, but I find politics to be so fascinating. Browder wasn't buying any of it. I'm a 5'9", middle-aged bald man. 6 foot, busty blonde models don't throw themselves at me. This couldn't have been a more blatant honey trap. He writes in his book, Freezing Order, A True Story of Money Laundering, Murder, and Surviving Vladimir Putin's Wrath. It's out now. He had good reason to be suspicious. He'd come to the conference to argue for the Magnitsky Act, a proposed bill that would sanction Russian officials suspected of human rights abuses. Later that year, the act would be signed into law in the United States, and Browder was on a mission to convince the EU, the European Union, to follow their lead. All right, now here they say Bill Browder has been under attack by Russian officials for his involvement in the Magnitsky Act, a proposed bill that would sanction Russian officials suspected of human rights abuses. Russian President Vladimir Putin considered the Magnitsky Act an that's a difficult word, existential threat to his regime, and he would stop at nothing to bring the man responsible to justice, or at least his idea of justice. Later that night, Svetlana emailed Browder asking to meet him for a drink. "I can't stop thinking about you," she wrote. "I'd really like to see you this evening." Browder, who was staying at a hotel across the border in the south of France, knew what she was really after. "I've heard stories about Putin's enemies checking into Monaco hotels, presenting their passports, and finding themselves arrested within minutes by the local police," he writes. Sharing his location with Svetlana, he knew could put him in mortal danger. On the run from officials since 2005, Browder left the country after being accused of everything from tax fraud to money laundering. He was one of the most sought-after fugitives on Russia's domestic wanted list, and it was all because of his campaigning for the Magnitsky Act, named for Browder's lawyer, the Ukrainian-born Sergei Magnitsky, who was murdered in a Russian jail in November 2009. How do you like my voice impressions? Now, the reason I'm reading you this is because I find it tremendously interesting that the tweet that Orsolya's husband put out was all about this guy in his book. Then he deletes the tweet, and his wife is murdered, dismembered, dragged in a hockey bag, and just dumped. It could speculatively feel like making an example out of somebody, or there was that text sent from her phone, and they have yet to locate her phone that said, "Your whole family's next." Weird because the 13-year-old was in the house, but okay, your whole family's next. Born in New Jersey and raised in Chicago, Browder moved to London after getting his MBA from Stanford Business School in 1989. He worked for consulting firms like Boston Consulting Group, married a Brit, and renounced his US citizenship, mostly as a protest over how his communist grandparents had been treated in the McCarthy era. His success with Russian investments at Solomon Brothers in London inspired him to relocate to Moscow and launch the hedge fund Hermitage Capital Management in 1996, which became one of the largest foreign investors in post-Soviet Russia. Although they had about $4.5 billion invested in Russian equities, he was frustrated that many of his investments were being robbed blind by Russian oligarchs and corrupt officials, he writes. So he fought back, exposing the corruption to the international media. "To make money, I didn't have to put a complete stop to the stealing. I just needed to create enough pressure for marginal change." It didn't, however, make him very popular in Russia. And by November of 2005, that was when Howard and Orsolya had their first son as well, just out of interest, on trumped-up charges of tax fraud and money laundering, basically accusing him of what he'd accused them. The Kremlin declared him a threat to national security and barred him from ever returning to Russia. Browder hired Moscow lawyer Sergei Magnitsky to investigate, and in the summer of 2008, he uncovered a massive conspiracy involving the theft of $230 million using tax refund fraud from 3 of Hermitage's companies. Browder hoped that by exposing the fraud, it would quietly go away as it had in the past. Instead, he poked a sleeping bear. I know, right? It could just be a distraction. I agree. But here, I'm just going to finish this little bit here. Magnitsky was arrested, accused of committing the same fraud he had just exposed, and held for 358 days, where, according to Browder, he was regularly tortured, deprived of medical treatment. On his final day, he was chained to a bed, and 8 riot guards with rubber batons beat Sergei until he was dead. Browder writes. He was only 37 years old. "He'd been killed because he worked for me," Browder writes. "The guilt I felt and continue to feel permeates every cell of my body. To avenge his deceased friend and colleague, he started campaigning for lawmakers to create legislation he dubbed the Magnitsky Act, which punished not just the oligarchs but responsible for the stolen millions uncovered by Magnitsky, but also freezes the US assets of all Russian human rights violations." Okay, so the point is, if I were to continue to read this huge article, I'm going to put it in the chat for you. There's people dying around this guy. And so what's my point if I remove this and add this again? We look again at the tweet, Just landed in Portland, Oregon before evaluating Ann Arbor again with my 17-year-old son. Highly recommend freezing order at Bill Browder, a man I've followed closely and admired since I started on Wall Street in 1997, broking EMEA and Russian equities to hedge funds like Hermitage. It's just weird that he had to say that. Yeah, more of the husband's alibi. Yes. I mean, yes. So, Robert, you're onto this alibi thing. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's trying. That's why I just want to show you, and you can read it there. You can read the whole thing there. It's a huge article. It might be that the husband, because he's being so specific in this tweet, is just putting it out there for people to consider, as we have now. Very strange. Anyway, to continue with the timeline. Let me just take this banner off for a second. Okay. To continue with the timeline, Leo, the 13-year-old who was found upstairs alone that day, had no idea where his mom was supposed to have his bar mitzvah on March 12th, before the murder happened. So, I mean, March 12th of 2022. Okay. It was cancelled because his dad contracted, you can read it there, the Rona. Now, he was a little mad about that, right? Apparently, allegedly. His grandmother, because he was so excited for it, of course. He's so excited, bar mitzvah. You guys know what that is, right? He's going into manhood, in the Jewish faith. It's a big event for a young man. And it was cancelled because his dad contracted the Rona. Now, what I find interesting, this is just pure interest. Again, I'm just bringing this up because I find it purely interesting at this point in the case. Leo's grandmother, which was actually Howard's mother, so Orsolya's mother-in-law, died of breast cancer when Leo, the 13-year-old, was 18 months old. But this impacted his psychology deeply. He prepared a YouTube video right before his bar mitzvah to try to raise $3,600 by March 31st to support a quest for a cure for breast cancer. Isn't that weird? For a 13-year-old, it's sweet, it's nice. I'm just like, it's very interesting. It might have nothing to do with anything, but I think his psychology is interesting nonetheless, okay? He wanted to donate the money to the Susan G. Komen nonprofit organization. So he was like super excited for this bar mitzvah. He knew that his grandmother, while she was battling breast cancer, really wanted to stay alive to attend one of his cousins, I believe, bar mitzvahs. Maybe his uncle, someone's bar mitzvah. And she stayed alive and made it. Okay, and we'll listen to what he said. There's a more detailed a video that I have for you where he talks about this. And it's just so interesting how that impacted him. I just find it interesting how he expresses this, that he's just like, well, in honor of her, he was so excited for his bar mitzvah, and then was cancelled because the dad got the Rona. And I'm just saying, over Passover weekend, his dad and his eldest brother go to Portland, Oregon. His mom is out with another man. He's home alone. It's just like, I wonder how that impacted him, Like a little man boy. Yeah, it might have absolutely nothing to do with it. I'm just showing you all the details we can in the case, right? So Leo Klein's Mitzvah Project is what he called it. Interestingly, Orsolya was the first to actually talk about this. She was one of 3 people to donate to it. So I don't know. Unfortunately, he really didn't reach his goal here. He raised 349 out of the 3,352 euros, because it obviously, what do you call it? It switched it to euros because I'm here in Europe, but it was supposed to be $3,600. So he raised just over 10% of what he wanted to, Oh, he said there in that picture, I see it every day on a bookshelf in my bedroom. This is a picture he has of his grandparents. That's his grandmother, Howard's mother, that passed away. And he looks at a picture every day in his bedroom, and he was really excited for this bar mitzvah. Anyway, they say a motive for this attack remains unclear. This is now just back to the case. Sources added that police have yet to identify a male suspect in the case. Police are asking anyone with information to call their anonymous tip line at 1-800-577-TIPS. So beautiful pictures of Orsolya. On the right-hand side, I had to show you that one with a grizzly statue. She said taming, what did she call it? She said on Facebook, like, taming the beast or something like that. Here she wrote on December 30th, 2021, Happy New Year to all of you dear friends and family, hoping 2022 will be a great one. That's her little dog dressed up for Halloween, which was really cute if you go look at the Facebook pictures. And sadly, when she's like, I hope 2022 will be a great one, she's murdered in April. Like, what? Oh, my word. Yeah, that had to be upsetting for him. Exactly. It was a big disappointment, yes. Now, Orsolya was originally from Hungary. Her mom and sister visited the family in the USA. She attended the Budapest Business School College of International Management and Business in Budapest, Hungary. In 2005, her first son was born, so their first son was born. 2009, the second son. And in 2010, her mother-in-law died at the age of 76. The family of four traveled all over the world together. So Howard, Orsolya, and the two boys, they went everywhere, like Hong Kong, Paris. She took a trip, what it appears to be she's alone, in late 2020 to Croatia. She seemed to have traveled around there. She was kind of not doing like missionary work, but helping out at like facilities. They were like facilities for children, from what I can gather. A whole bunch of like volunteer programs, right? She was doing that in Croatia by herself in August of 2020. And it's kind of like since then that she's not wearing her wedding ring anymore in the photos on Facebook, which is also interesting. No one knows where the little dog is. No one knows. That's the problem. The neighbors found it really odd that the dog wasn't barking on Saturday as normal. Okay, now hear me out on this. It's just, I just put it out there because I've seen this already flying around everywhere. On the left-hand side, you have the elder. Okay, wait. Firstly, the couple in the picture. It's the eldest son and his girlfriend. A lot of people are starting to say, oh boy. They're speculating that that footage looks like the girlfriend. Anyway, but I just put it here. I blanked out their faces. Of course, not the one on the right. The one on the right is the youngest son. He was dressed like cousin It from the Addams Family on Halloween last year. So I just put it here so you can look for yourself. I'm not saying anything. I'm just showing you how they look. Stature, gait, legs, you know what I mean? Height. And then there's the surveillance footage. So we will look at that in a moment now. Let's make this bigger. No one knows where the doggo is. Let us look at this. Okay.
Inside the bag, our sources say, is Gaal's body. Multiple NYPD officials tell.
It's such a short clip. My word. And I don't even think I can slow it down. It's the only one I could find so far. So look again.
Inside the bag, our sources say, is Gaal's body. Multiple NYPD officials telling News 4.
To me, they walk a little bit like a kid. Just a little bit. You let me know what you think. I'm going to put it silent so we can watch it over and over. Yeah, what are they carrying in the right arm? You're right. See, when I do that, then it like blanks it out. So I got to do it from here. Oh my word, what's in the right hand? So can you believe it? That's where her remains were, in that bag. Not very tall at all, and it's just the way they walk. Look at their feet. I don't know. To me, it's sort of like got a kid-like walk. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything, not doxing anyone, not throwing anyone under the bus, not doing that thing. I'm just saying that walk. The first time I saw it, before I even read about deep diving this case, I'm like, ooh, who's that kid? But it might not be a kid. Look. So scary. Oh, my word. The dog is not in the zone. Oh, my word. They're not saying anything about the dog. The neighbors have just said it's really weird because they haven't seen or heard the dog since. From what I can gather from all the news things, they're like, where's the dog? Like, we don't hear the dog barking. Where's the dog? I want to know where the dog is too. No, that's not her head. I don't think that's her head in his hand. in their hand, whoever this is. Because they say they're looking for a male now, a male suspect. And they've got 3 contacts in her phone that they're looking into as well. So this might be a stranger. However, there's no sign of forced entry in the home, which means, as police have concluded, they think that this person knew Orsolya. I'm thinking, okay, maybe they had access to the home, which is why I show you why people are speculating. What if it's Jamie's girlfriend who's like really angry? You know, we don't know. What if it's the girlfriend? What if it's the young boy? We don't know. The 13-year-old. I don't know. It does look like a kid walk. We'll look again. That looks like a kid walk to me. Right? Oh my word. Okay, so now the call, not the call. I keep saying the call, but it's just because it's audio and I've put over my own little artwork. This is from the 13-year-old's YouTube video. He made a YouTube video. I just don't want to show him, but I'm sure you could go find it yourself. Maybe other content creators will show him. I don't know. I don't want to do that because, of course, the news is blurring out his face everywhere, so I can't just like show him. So what I've done is got the audio from the video and put this little artwork over it, but it's him explaining his bar mitzvah, his grandmother, why she's so important to him and all that. So I just found it interesting. Okay.
After my bar mitzvah on March 12th, I have chosen from my mitzvah project to raise money for breast cancer research. I chose this charity since my grandmother, Deborah Klein, died after a 5-year battle with breast cancer at the age of 76. I was only 18 months old at the time, so I never really had the chance to know Grandma Debbie. I know from my dad, my mom, and Grandpa Hugo what a wonderful and loving person she was. Family meant everything to her. She loved nothing more than attending weddings and b'nai mitzvah of her kids and grandkids. There's a saying in Judaism, Lador Vador. It is all about making connections between generations. Grandma Debbie's life story is an important part of my appreciation of what it means to be Jewish. She grew up in England during World War II. She didn't have much of a childhood. For 5 years from 1940, from the age of 6 to the age of 11, she was evacuated to several foster homes in the British countryside. This is typical to avoid Nazi blitzkriegs of her London hometown. At my bar mitzvah, I will be reciting the Haftorah portion by Yikra from Leviticus. It is all about sacrifice. Grandma Debbie had to sacrifice her childhood at the beginning of her life to be born with our family. She also sacrificed at the end of her life. It was prematurely cut short. My dad told me that as her breast cancer progressed, what kept Grandma Debbie going in her last weeks was thinking about attending my cousin Aster's bat mitzvah. She made it. I cherish this picture from 11 years ago. I see it every day on a bookshelf in my bedroom. It was taken at Aster's bat mitzvah. I was less than a year old. I've made this video to share one person's experience of living without a loved one. Breast cancer is a terrible disease, so please join me in helping to continue the quest for a cure, memory of my Grandma Debbie. I've set up a fundraising campaign, Leo Klein's Mitzvah Project fundraiser. It is on the Susan G. Komen Facebook page. I'm targeting to raise $3,600, so please contribute anything that you can. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I know it's a little hard to hear, but it's interesting to see. Also, Mikey's Mammy, hello. You say that's Chewbacca from Star Wars? Nope. It was literally put on Orsolya's Facebook page that he dressed up specifically as Cousin It. This. So if we look at it here, there he is. On the right-hand side, he was trying to dress up like like Cousin It, not Chewbacca. So I don't know. Robert was asking the height of the elder son. I don't know, but there he is in the picture on the right-hand side. There's the girl, his girlfriend, then him, and they went dressed as each other. And people commented on the post that this is how they normally dressed anyway. Like they weren't dressing up for Halloween. They just dressed as each other. I find that interesting. And then they said it was like a last-minute thing, though. And then the 13-year-old is apparently, he looks very tall here. He is actually very tall. He doesn't look 13 when if you see his videos. I mean, I don't know. He's not a small 13-year-old, put it that way. He's mature, raising money for breast cancer awareness, ready for his bar mitzvah and all that. So, yes. To be an elder. Okay. but they were not in the Mormon church. These were Jewish. It's a Jewish family. Nothing to do with Mormons or the LDS. So yeah, it is, Robert. It's hard to grasp, but this would be that would be a little bit hectic. Okay, so just one more time. You see the picture? Just making sure in case, because this is right now, only for members, and then I'm going to release it. So this is what he was trying to dress as. All right. So let us now. Kind of strange. I'm suspicious of that girl too, a little bit. I mean, I don't want to show too much. You can see on Facebook, you can see pretty much everything. You can see Orsolya's posts, and you can see all the kids. So if you guys want to analyze height, body language, anything like that, even though the police say the dad and the son, they say the dad and the son are cleared as suspects, but there's two sons. When they say sons, anyway, the dad and son have been cleared as suspects. But yeah, everything's on Facebook. You can go check it out there. Hello, Brad. Is that a backpack? I don't know. Yeah, Larry. Okay, so now, of course, it is map time. Let me put this on. All right, map time, everybody. So this is the house right behind me. I got to make myself smaller. My goodness, get out the way. Right? Okay. This is the house. I zoomed into all the pictures, of course. You know how I roll. I zoomed into the pictures. I could see the number there eventually when you zoom from the New York Post. This was the house. Apparently, Howard and the boys are staying somewhere else right now. While the investigation continues, police have been in the basement. They've taken stuff out of the basement as evidence. Yes, that's true, Robert. I'm sure they're keeping an eye on the husband, even though they dismissed him as a possible suspect. So, of course, he was in Portland, Oregon at the time. So was the elder son. That's been proven. But what are they investigating now, Could it have been a hit, an organized hit? Could it have been revenge for a suspected, alleged, no one knows. And this is by no means victim blaming. I've seen a couple of arguments going on Twitter of like, don't you dare victim blame and say she was having an affair. Okay, whoa. No one's victim blaming. It's just considering the possibilities. Maybe the husband was really angry. Maybe there was, like someone suggested here earlier, maybe it was someone in the area that was like stalking her or watching her. You just don't know, right? But anyway, this is the home. It is on Juno Street. That's not secret. It's like out there in all the articles. That's how I drove down this entire street until I found the matching house. And I'm like, there it is. So yes. So I don't know exactly how the backyards work, but apparently they share a bit. Let's just go a little bit this way, if I can. Oh, not too much. Hey. Not too much, guys. Not too much. Wait. There. I need to go just a tiny bit more. Okay. I'm trying to look in here. They apparently share a bit of a yard here. Maybe it's like this, or I don't know. Maybe this neighbor means they could see into the yard. But they were surprised that they didn't see the dog there the next morning. And they did see Orsolya in that backyard on Friday evening after she got home. Yeah, well, whoever it was obviously knew that she was without her husband and more vulnerable. That's another thing. That's the thing. Oh, my word. No husband, no eldest son. And the 13-year-old sits upstairs. Quiet, probably playing video games, as you guys said, but like, no idea. He's just like, I don't know. Wow. Yeah, a lot of this case doesn't sit right. There's so much to it. Right now, it's early days in this case. We have no idea what's going on. Build looks the same. Yep. Okay, so this is, let me just go out of this so we can now see. So it's on this street. Juno Street is the house. Now, you know how the news reports go, saying where everything was found. Let's just put this back north, please, for goodness sake. Otherwise, we lost. Juno Street. Now, they say it was found. There's 2 articles I've seen with different addresses. One says Metropolitan Avenue and Jackie Robinson Parkway, which actually would be, yes, around this area. Yes, so that's what it actually is, because they were also saying Ascan Avenue. That's the other articles say found along Ascan Avenue. But not quite, huh? Not quite. And, oh, my bad. I moved things. My bad. Okay, whoa. There were other ones that I've seen that take you kind of west. But if we just go to Metropolitan Avenue and Jackie Robinson Parkway, and we put our little man, there we go. Then you can see, wait for it. I think it's like along here. Wait, I'll show you the picture again. Yes, this. Oh, my bad. So you can see there's like the bridge. There's a fence, some ivy. Okay, so in looking at this, fasten your seatbelts, please. I'm thinking it was along here. Wait, I found it earlier. Just wait. I just want to turn around and see. Yeah, west. Okay, can we go this way a little bit? We're going under the bridge now, everyone. I just want to see because they showed a little video earlier. Yeah. Okay, turning around again. Interesting. Right, okay. Going back. Yeah, leaving a trail of blood, right? So are you also, from the picture that you see here, are you also thinking it's on the left-hand side of the road? You know what I mean? Like that? I'm thinking it's right here. This is the exact intersection they describe, and it's like right here, or on this side. I think it's right here, from everything I've seen, right? But wrong way in traffic. I know. I just had to drive. I just had to drive it. Wait. Let's make a U-turn. Woo, everyone, here we go. Yes, you see. So yeah, like here. Right? Exactly like you showed it left. Yes, the lamppost. People driving by. You guys are like, what are you doing? I'm driving everywhere. I'm just looking. I'm like, yes. I was like scoping all this out earlier. Like, what? So strange to walk here and then just like leave the body like on the side. Why? Like, why? That's weird. Do you want it to be found, or were you getting tired? And where did you go after that? You know what I mean? The person who took it. So strange. So let's look around. Look at it. What? All along. And to think that they had a bloody trail that that the police could follow all the way back to the home. Oh my word. Queens Boulevard. Oh, we're driving now. I just want to see this. Ooh, my bad. Let's go have it again. So there's Juno Street. And then it's around here. Here. That's quite far, huh? This is 1.6 miles, but it's that way. So let's just go like this. Come here. Bring it to here. Bring it. Just take it. Why you gotta do a loop? Interesting. See, that loop is 1.3 miles, but it includes this stuff. So they said about half a mile. Probably a kid. Oh, my word. I think it was a kid and they just got tired and just left her or freaked out along the way. So hectic. So, of course, on Google Earth, I could do a better job of the actual distance. But they say it around 1/2 mile away, which if you minus all this stuff, it probably is. I mean, why does it have to do this? Bring it up here. No, naughty. Okay. Maybe he wanted to discard the bag somewhere else and was disturbed. Let's try and do it the other way around. Ah, see, that says 1 mile, but it's also got this extra bit here. So if we do that, yeah, that says 1/2 mile. 0.6, look there. So that's how they would have gone, probably. Oh, my word. That is so hectic. Living on Juno Street, going here all through the neighborhood. There's a lot of cameras that saw this person dragging the bag as well. At 4:30 in the morning. Then going here and stopping there. And then what? That's what I want to know. And then what? Maybe the person saw police lights in the distance. Maybe. But the police, they dropped the bag there around 5 in the morning. And the bag was only discovered at 8:05 in the morning. So the bag was just sitting there for like 3 hours. That's so hectic. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we've done the map time. Video. Wait, I just want to do this. And okay. Sure. So what are you guys thinking? Let me know, especially once I publish the video. Drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. What are your theories? I mean, at this point, it's all pure speculation because we don't know what happened. All we know is that this poor woman was stabbed 58 times, at least 58 times. And her injuries, as we said, throat, torso, left arm, and hands, like in between her fingers too, especially on the left hand. Left arm, left hand, interesting. And dismembered. But it doesn't sound like fully dismembered, if you know what I mean. Because the person who found her in the bag, opened the bag, they saw a foot. They said they saw a hip. They say it's still attached. Okay, so is the foot and the leg and the hip still attached? I don't know. But then saying the body was in fetal position, it seems like not a full dismemberment. Or what are you thinking? I don't know. It's just so weird based on all the comments, right? I'm thinking kids, defense wounds on hands. Yes. When she says, what do I say? You mean like, sure. I don't know. Someone that really hated her. This happened on, interesting. I'm glad you asked, Lady M. The only reason I also find it interesting, and again, I'm not ever trying to put ideas in people's heads or blame anyone, but it was Passover time. And if you look at the Jewish scriptures of Passover time, which I've looked at a lot, okay, I've got a lot of knowledge on that stuff. There's like from like the older books, right? It's talking about Passover sacrifice. So it's interesting to me that the 13-year-old is talking about sacrifice in his bar mitzvah stuff. And then this is, I'm just saying, not putting any ideas out there. I'm just saying it was Passover time. There was a trail of blood. My question is, was there blood on the door? Did someone take the scripture literally at all? Doesn't have to be him, anyone. Was it like a religious slaying in any way? You know what I mean? Or was it Russian mobsters? Or was it the husband that got a hitman because he was upset because speculatively, what if his wife had an affair? Or was it the girlfriend of the eldest son because she's like mad that the parents are maybe keeping them apart? It gives me like those Shea, what's her name? No, that Shea Business one. Whoa, imagine it. I mean, we never expected that one. So it's just like, what if she was like, no, now they're sending him off to college far away from me, and maybe she couldn't come over to the house. So what? I was purely speculating, okay? Pure speculation, because at this point we don't know anything. Do you think it was I feel like it's someone, of course, that the police say that had access to the home. You know? And the neighbors who saw Orsolya in the backyard didn't say they saw her with a man. It wasn't like she went out for the night and brought the man home and was in the backyard with the dog and the man. But she hadn't changed out of her clothes that she'd been out in yet at that time, which was after she got home after midnight. And by 4:30 in the morning, somebody had murdered her and wheeling her off in a hockey bag. Well, she was still wearing her jeans and belt and everything. And there was an attempted dismemberment from what I see. No barking, no screaming. So interesting. Yes, interesting with Passover. I don't know if you guys have looked at that. I've actually got it here. Of course, Passover is a major Jewish holiday, and this was a Jewish family that celebrates the exodus of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, which occurs on the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Nisan, the first month of Aviv or spring. The word Pesach or Passover can also refer to the Korban Pesach, the paschal lamb that was offered, sacrifice, you see, when the temple in Jerusalem stood to the Passover Seder, the ritual meal on Passover night, or to the feast of unleavened bread. One of the biblically ordained 3 pilgrimage festivals, Passover is traditionally celebrated in the land of Israel for 7 days, for 8 days amongst the Jews in diaspora, based on the concept and all these big words, right? I'm just saying, yes. So according to the book of Exodus, God, they would say Yahweh, right, commands Moses to tell the Israelites to mark a lamb's blood above their doors in order that the angel of death will pass over them, that they will not be touched by the 10th plague, death of the firstborn. Okay. After the death of the firstborn, Pharaoh orders the Israelites to leave, taking whatever they want, and asks Moses to bless him in the name of the Lord. The passage goes on to state that the Passover sacrifice recalls the time when God passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt. This story is recounted at the Passover meal in the form of Haggadah, in fulfillment of the command, and thou shalt tell thy son in that day, saying, it is because of that which the Lord did for me when I came forth out of Egypt. So, of course, this is based on the Christian Bible. I've literally read the scriptures that was like translated from Hebrew into English. So it's a little different wording to this. Again, not now. This was before even my true crime channel started. Okay, I was like deep diving all this stuff. I just find it interesting that there is a slaying on Passover, early hours of the morning, a trail of blood. I still want to know, just so I can rule it out in my own mind. Was there any blood on the door? Did someone take this literally? I don't know. It was Good Friday, yes. Good Friday. Yes. There's a case of rich people's son. You know, the one sentence that I read in one of these articles, it was from the New York Post. They were saying like the 13-year-old was handcuffed immediately, taken to the police station, questioned, and then released. But then this other little paragraph, that one little sentence in between, and this other paragraph said, a teenager in the neighborhood has been interviewed. And I'm like, what? But the way they worded it, it was just a little bit ambiguous to me. Like, are they trying to say it's the 13-year-old? Or is it like literally another teenager? You know, I don't have it up here right now. But when I read it, I'm like, are they talking about another teenager? Because that would be interesting. Of course, they would have friends in the area, you know? Love to see books in the house. Oh, yes. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see what comments you leave, what you guys think. I hope that you got a good overview, a deep dive, really, of the case. I think it's a very interesting case, very scary, and we have to see what happens next. I just think it was here. They say the youngest son was seen being taken away in handcuffs, and after the youth's questioning, cops determined he had no knowledge of the crime, and the child was subsequently released after determining the body in the bag was indeed Gaal's. So yes, the body was identified as hers, just in case anyone's wondering. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Sure. It definitely distracted me. Today was actually supposed to be homework day only on Melanie Gibb, the Gibster in the Lori Vallow Daybell case, which I'm going to get back to now. So I got to go. I've just been over an hour now. But when I saw this case, I'm like, what? Just couldn't believe it. Oh, my word. So I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe you can also help me keep an eye on it. If you see any breaking news or something, please send it to me. You can email it to me or send it to me on Patreon. If you are a patron as well, send it there in the messages or tweet it at me. That's also great. As in the Twitter DMs, I check those quite often as well. I must say, in Instagram DMs, your messages could get lost. There are so many people trying to contact me on there. It's kind of hard to follow. So I think Twitter would be a great way, or email me, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. Let me chillaxing in my chair. Yeah, I'm multitasking. Melanie Phibbs, yeah, the Gibster. Exactly, Melanie Phibbs. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I wanted to go live, So I went live at first, of course. If you are a Grizzly, a subscriber, and you're seeing this now, awesome. Just know the members saw it first. You know why? I didn't want to sit here and film it and edit it. And that thing I do where I have to make it perfect? That would just take too long. I'm like, no, I'm going live. We're going to talk about it now. And it's a weird time in the day for all my mods. So I'm like, I'm going to go live members only. It's a treat for everyone, right? Rochelle says, this is an intriguing case for sure. Great job, Gisela. Got lots of new info from you. Thank you so much. That would always be the goal. Lots of new info from you as always. Love listening to you explain these horrific stories with such understanding. Thank you so much. Doesn't make sense to me. He chose an ambitious goal, $3,600 to raise, but then he only got 3 donations, including his mom's. We don't know if it's his mom and dad and who else, you know what I mean? But his mom's. In my honest opinion, it doesn't seem like he was trying too hard. Maybe he was pressured from the mom. He might have been pressured from his mom because his mom actually made a donation to that foundation in January. And he only made these YouTube videos in March, before his bar mitzvah was supposed to be March 12th. So yeah, very interesting. If you want to see the video that he made, just do a little YouTube search. I mean, you know his name now. Just type that in, bar mitzvah. It might help. I don't want to put it here. Can I put it here? I don't know if I should put the link here. I'm sure you guys can find it. It's a very interesting watch. I'm like, oh, okay. Perfect wake up with my tea. Yes. And yeah, I've already had my coffee. Perfect wake up with my water. I'm so glad. Thank you for the early morning treat. It's my absolute pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And I guess I will see you guys either very soon. If there's breaking news in this case, then I will be back very soon. Because now I'm definitely following it. Or I'll see you tomorrow for another look, another dive into the Lori Vallow Daybell case. We're looking at the Fibster, the Gibster. My kid just said, do the Grizzlies ever sleep? Never. There's no time for that. There's no time to sleep. We just take naps, right? Well, I will see you very soon. Please give this video a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. If you are not yet subscribed, which of course is not the members, but everyone else watching right now, please do subscribe. Become one of us, a Grizzly. Hit the bell. And I'll see you very soon, okay?